Even though Ringo Starr was a member of the Beatles, his success hasn't saved him from the depressing side of life. In fact, he's had more than his fair share of tough times. Here are some tragic details of this drummer's life. All four of the Beatles famously hailed from Liverpool, one of England's largest cities and home to large populations of working and middle-class people. But while John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison all grew up in homes that were secure, if not wealthy, Starr's upbringing was a bit more economically unstable. As his childhood neighbour Mary Maguire Crawford was quoted in the Beatles, a biography, he was not a barefoot, ragged child, but like all of the families who lived in the Dingle, he was part of an ongoing struggle to survive. The Dingle was an especially depressed neighborhood, full of tiny, decrepit homes with poor ventilation. The only place for kids to play was a local park, where all the coal smoke from area chimneys hung thick in the air. Those circumstances were made all the more trying when Starr's father abandoned the family when Ringo was only 3 years old. During the Beatles' time together, there was a through line of disrespect towards Ringo. He was only allowed to sing lead on 11 songs and write 2 unassisted, and he didn't even get to play on one of the group's earliest and biggest hits. Producer George Martin didn't like the drumming that Starr turned in for Love Me Do, so he brought in a session drummer named Andy White to play drums on that track and the B-side P.S. I Love You. Starr was demoted to playing the tambourine and maracas. Toward the end of the 1960s, the band life of the Beatles was famously contentious. He got so bad in 1968 for Starr that he briefly left the band in the middle of recording the White Album. As he described the situation, I felt I wasn't playing great, and I also felt the other 3 were really happy, and I was an outsider. While Starr took his family on vacation to Sardinia, the other Beatles recorded without him. They took bits and pieces of work he'd previously recorded and some new drum work by Paul McCartney to cobble together the rhythmic backing track for Back in the USSR. When Starr returned, his bandmates at least welcomed him back by covering his drum kit in flowers.
Say, hey Ringo, this is your song for the album. We hear your voice on this.
No, he said, you're doing that.
You're right. And when you have to
no,
sing...
he never said it like that.
After the Beatles split up in 1970, all 4 members enjoyed solo success. For his part, Starr had 8 singles in a row that all reached the top 10 in the US, including the #1 hits Photograph and You're 16. The albums Ringo and Goodnight Vienna went platinum and gold respectively, but then the public seemingly grew tired of what he was offering. In 1976, Ringo's Rotogravure stalled at number 28 on the US charts, and the singles A Dose of Rock and Roll and Hey Baby tanked as well. The 1977 and 1978 albums Ringo IV and Bad Boy straight up flopped, reaching just number 162 and 129 respectively on the Billboard charts. After Starr left his label over a dispute, it took him 3 years to record and release more music. With 1981's Stop and Smell the Roses, he enjoyed a modest comeback with the number 38 hit Rack My Brain, a song written by former bandmate George Harrison. But Stop and Smell the Roses sold so poorly that RCA Records dropped Starr. Starr met his first wife, Maureen Cox, at the Cavern Club, the venue where the Beatles cut their teeth. The 2 of them wed in 1965, had 3 children together, and the marriage weathered the storm of worldwide fame and attention, but just barely, and not, as it turned out, for the long haul.
Does that worry you, that the fact that, you can't go anywhere with him?
No, not really. I just sort of enjoy myself.
Cox had a brief affair with George Harrison. After she and Starr grew apart in the mid-70s, Starr struck up a relationship with model Nancy Lee Andrews, leading to a divorce which was finalized in 1975. According to John Lennon's first wife, Cynthia, Cox was so devastated that she attempted to take her own life by running a motorcycle into a wall. She survived, but she endured a lengthy cosmetic surgery to correct her facial injuries. Starr and Cox both remarried, but they reportedly remained cordial. They stayed so friendly, in fact, that Starr was with his former wife when she passed away in December 1994. She underwent a bone marrow transplant from their son Zach that was intended to treat leukemia. Sadly, the procedure didn't completely improve her health. and she died from complications of the surgery at age 47. 1970 was the year that the Beatles split up, but Ringo at least had something in his personal life to celebrate that year, as his first daughter and third child overall was born. Lee Starkey stayed out of the spotlight for decades, unlike some other famous Beatles offspring. But then she made headlines in the fall of 1995 when she suddenly fell seriously ill. After collapsing and then being hospitalized in London, Lee Starkey was diagnosed with a brain tumor. After having fluid drained from her skull, she was transferred to Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, where a neurosurgeon performed an experimental 4-hour operation on her. The tumor was removed entirely, and she was quickly discharged. Her father was reportedly by her bedside for the ordeal, and he stayed with her in Boston for 6 weeks after, when she underwent 8-minute radiation treatments every day. In 2001, the tumor returned, and Starkey had to endure more medical treatments, but she thankfully managed to survive those as well. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more grunge videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.